You're in the mix with Overachievers.
And we are back. Thank you guys for listening to episode 8 of the Overachievers podcast.
Yo.
I'm your host, Martin Amini, with my co-host,
DJ Bo. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, man. First off, thank you to all the new listeners from the Andrew Schultz show.
Welcome.
That John was dope. And shout out to all the new listeners from the Matt Rife episode. Y'all are appreciated. Thank you guys, man. Couple announcements. We are going to Miami July 7th. I'm at the Sentinel Theater.
Are we?
Yes.
Am I coming?
Yeah, we can go. Okay.
I'll
add that.
Booked one ticket. But
We'll figure it out. I'm featuring Kason Wilson is headlining.
Ooh, dope.
It's going to be a big one. Kason was on our go back a couple episodes. You could listen to that episode on iTunes.
Okay.
And man, this we got the Miami show is going to be big, and
nice.
And shout out to all the people who came out to the Overachievers show season finale. And DJ Bo's back on this episode.
Yeah, because I was missing.
You were missing
for a week.
Yeah. But now you're back. Shout out to Phil Lewis, who was our co-host.
Thank
did
you,
a great
Phil.
job
I
filling
appreciate
in.
you stepping in, man.
Yeah, man.
I know it was some big shoes to fill.
Phil killed it, man. Phil killed it. So the pressure's on DJ Bo, but I'm glad he's back. We're back in the mix, and today is a very special episode. I say that for every episode, but this is one of our day ones. He's one of my favorite comedians. He's an Overachievers favorite. You might have seen him at the Kennedy Center performing. You might have seen him at the Time Machine Roast, a show that he started and is the host of. And you can see him killing it all over the DMV, man. Start clapping your hands right now for the very funny Benjy Himmelfarb.
So great to be here.
Yes.
Thank you, Martin.
Welcome.
Of course, man. Yeah, man, this is long overdue, man. You're one of the day ones. The OG, triple OGs.
Yeah, heaven and hell.
Heaven and hell.
Yeah. Dude, I was thinking about when the first time I met you. When did you start in 2012?
2012.
Yeah, I started that year too. I remember you showed up at Potomac Grill.
Hell yeah.
And you were that was right when music festivals were becoming real hip, you know? And you were dressed like music. You had like the
Trilectro?
You had the T, the cut off arms T, and the hat pointed up. That was like the look for the underground festivals back then. And I was like, who's this festival kid who's doing comedy?
Right. And you had just started. So Potomac Grill, first year comedy. You were the first, I felt like the first normal comedian I met. Because like, I saw you and I was like, oh, he looks pretty normal. Because I feel like most comics you see, because especially when you're in the boonies doing it.
Yeah.
In our case, Rockville, Maryland, which is in the boonies, but we're at a fish restaurant to some extent. So it was like it was an unorthodox place for comedy.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out to Rob Mayer for running that show.
Yeah. But
I met you and you seemed very really cool. I was like, yo, this is a dude. But I didn't think that. I was just like, I wasn't really. It wasn't until like 2000, the next year maybe we started talking. Really?
Yeah.
Because I guess we're just trying to figure this shit out.
Yeah.
Just trying to like.
I remember that being a real insecure time. Anytime I saw a new person that had you had like a little swagger, you know.
Right.
And you had jokes too. You could tell like you had like presence and stuff, and I was like,
yeah,
because I was like, I had no presence, and I was just like,
yeah, and I was overcompensating with confidence. So it was just like putting fuel on the fire. And I didn't really make friends until like my second or third year, which ended up being like you were like probably one of the first friends. You, Chris Milner, and Jamel, I would say were like the first few friends. But yeah, man, Potomac Mafia Grill, Rockville.
I remember you had that joke about how you did a show in Germantown and there was one person in the audience and then he went to the bathroom, so you went into the bathroom to tell jokes.
Yeah.
I remember that joke. That's funny.
Yeah, man.
That was funny.
I'm going to bring that one back, baby. Yeah, dog.
How did the Fire Pit crew come about? Since I don't think I've ever asked y'all that.
That was that was like a year ago. Chris Milner, Benjy, and our homie Dylan. We used to hang out at Chris Milner's apartment after shows, and he had a fire pit, and so we would just hang out after shows, and that was it. There was not much of a bigger.
We were gonna
store.
get like leather jackets, bomber jackets, or whatever,
Jesus
like a motorcycle
Christ.
gang. Fire pit boys.
Yeah, no,
I'm glad we didn't.
Yeah,
Good Lord.
That would have been hard to explain later.
no, I think we just all naturally gravitated towards each other after, like our friends started moving to LA and New York, and then we were just like, oh, I guess we might as well just hang out.
Yeah.
There wasn't much like,
Yeah.
there wasn't much to it, man. But you had just, when you started, you had just moved from Miami?
Yeah. I started in Miami, but then I moved pretty soon after that.
What the hell were you doing in Miami?
I got this job down there after college, and then I ended up just staying down there.
Like, the drugs are good. Were you on the scene? Were you on the club scene?
A little bit, but like I was a scrub.
Describe like Miami Benjy.
Miami Benjy?
Just more brighter colors?
Yeah, I guess. A lot more button downs. You know what I'm saying?
Is that more
like long sleeve button downs? Yeah. That look, and a lot more like going to clubs.
Clubs.
But like my homies, yeah. My homies there, they were all boys from University of Florida, and they just knew mad people. So we would go, like, there was like this club Mansion that was like this famous place.
The one, yeah.
And we would like,
it's a lot of rap songs.
They knew some promoter there. So if we got there at 11, we could drink all you could drink rum drinks.
Jesus.
Till 12 only.
That sounds like a problem.
Yeah, so we would get there at 11. There would be no line at that point. Nobody, and then we would just get fucking hammered on free rum, and it's right in South Beach. Yeah. And then we'd walk out right at midnight when the promotion ended. There'd be a long ass line, hot girls, dudes, and we'd just be like, "This place fucking sucks,"
Yeah, hell yeah.
That was the move. We just went wherever there was like some kind of trick to getting. Yeah. But yeah, I was a scrub.
So okay, so you're in Miami. You're hitting the clubs. Is that where you acquired a taste for like Latin women? Like, what got you? Because for those who don't know, Benjy,
black women.
Or watch, well, if you watch his set from the earlier years, he used to have a lot of he used to have a lot of cool Latin material.
Yeah, there was this girl I went to a Jewish school, so there wasn't like a lot of Latin Jews there, but there was this one girl from like Uruguay or something.
Yeah. In your Jewish school?
Yeah. There's Jews in Latin America, and she came and she was like real sexy, and she had an accent, and she was all curvy and stuff, and that was the moment, I think.
Was that your first crush? Uruguayan Jewish, like Uruguayan Jewish mommy.
Yeah.
Who is this Uruguayan Jewish mommy?
Yeah. I think that's what got me interested.
Yeah. They got you like, all right, so now you're in Miami. So then you were
hollering unsuccessfully.
You're leaving the club at 12. You're like
no. Then we would like try to go to another spot where we knew someone. It was like this whole game of like, because you didn't want to be
just trying to finesse the club.
Yeah. Like down in South Beach, if you don't know what you're doing. It's funny because
let's go to another place.
All my boys down there, they were like Indian or like West Indian or like Jamaican or whatever. I was like always like the only white dude in the group, and I'd be like, why do you guys even hang out with me? And then they would make me go hail cabs and shit. That was before Uber. I'd be like, oh, I get it.
Yeah. You're like, go negotiate a better deal on this bottle. I'm like, all right, again.
The owner is like my cousin. Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's dope. So how do you go from like leaving clubs to going to other clubs? And then we're like, you know what? I'm going to go to an open mic comedy.
Oh my God. I don't know. I was always like the funny dude at work. And funny, like that was
What were you doing? What were you doing out there?
I was working for like a wholesaler distributor to the Caribbean.
What? What is it? A wholesaler? What were you wholesaling?
Like grocery supplies. So like toothpaste and like cleaning fluid. Yeah. We sold it from America to like these countries where they don't make anything.
Gotcha. Benjy doing wholesale business.
Dog, you should have seen me back then. But no, I mean, it was like people were like, "Oh, you're just like on the beach in like Belize, like sipping out of a coconut."
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm like in this like warehouse with no air conditioning, wearing like $7 khaki pants, like trying to negotiate with some Indian guy about a price of like Colgate.
Damn. That was out of college?
Yeah, more or less.
That was like your first entry level.
It was my first like real like desk job. I did other shit. I like sold flowers for a while.
So much had to happen. I feel like so much had to happen. We got to backtrack a little because this is like knowing Benjy right now to like just picturing him in Miami in an office selling wholesale supplies to like Belize or like the just third world countries.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know.
You were like, listen, you buy this toothbrush for 5 cents on the dollar.
Yeah, it was a lot of that.
Hell yeah. So I was always like the funny guy at work, and then like there was one week where like
just like a couple different people were like, "You're funny, man. Like, have you ever thought about doing stand up?" It was
more
like separately.
It's like, Benji, you funny, bro. You're not like the other guys.
You stupid. No.
In this case, everyone is like Latino in Miami at this point.
No, but I was like, it was just like 3 different people. My boss at the time, he's like, "You're in the wrong business." I was like,
to your face.
Yeah, I was like, "Damn."
He's like booing you. Boo.
No, he meant like I was like I would send out like work emails that were funny.
Yeah.
And it made people laugh and stuff, and I would say funny stuff all the time, but I wasn't that good.
Did he
at the
pull
job.
you to the side and have like a heart-to-heart with you, leasing Benji?
No.
Like while drinking rum?
Yeah.
Like,
he was Dominican, but yeah, no.
was his name Hector?
Close. He just had some Brugal in the desk.
You don't
he
like
would always
these
pull
other
it out.
guys. Benji, you special.
No, he literally told me I was bad at the job, but that I was funny. And then someone else, like my friend, was like, "You're funny. Like you should do stand up." And then like my cousin said something, and I was like, and like I had
But who would
seen
be good at that job? Who would be good at like?
No, there's people that was really
killing
good.
it.
If you're just like an animal and you don't care about anyone and you'll fuck anyone over.
Yeah.
You don't care. You'll lie to people. Just wolves in that business. And I wasn't cut out for that. I'm too nice for that. So. Yeah, and then I was like, I had been to a comedy open mic, so I sort of knew what it was, and I was like, I'm just gonna do it.
Yeah.
And I
Off
did
the
it.
strength of what your manager said, like you leasing Benji.
And I had some
don't
bits.
like these
I
other-
had bits because I had like one time I riffed out something and I made everybody, all my boys, like I made everybody laugh, and I was like,
What was it? What was the riff? Was it a character?
No. It was a joke.
You're in
that
the mix.
I was doing that back
6-7 years ago.
I was doing that. No, it's a joke I still do at like if it's like a lot of older folks or if like I'm doing a Bethesda show or something.
Mm-hmm.
It was I expanded it, but it was about Jewish hell. Someone's like, Jews don't believe in hell or something, and I was like, yeah, it's a department store where nothing's on sale and there's nowhere to make a complaint. Yeah, that was my first joke. That was one of the first jokes I ever told on stage.
Solid bit.
I still do it when it's like if I was talking. We were talking before about those Jewish gigs.
Yeah,
I got pull it out, dude.
Dude, yeah,
Oh man.
killing it. So then you walk. What was the name of the first open mic? Was it on the beach?
No, dog. It was far from Miami. It was like an hour and a half drive. It was in Lake Worth, Florida, which is like a pill mill kind of town.
I was thinking Dade County.
No.
Where Pitbull was hanging out.
Yeah.
Mr. 305.
Yeah. Then I'm next after him.
Yeah.
No, it was like way up in like where everybody's off the pills and stuff. It was like one of those kind of towns where like you go to the gas station, people try to sell you pills. One of the comics, it was in Lake Worth. One of the comics was like, "There's no lake and there's no worth," and it was at this spot called the Rum Shack, and you could just put your name down. And
How'd the set go?
I mean, it wasn't a complete bomb, and then like I knew I was like, I got to do this.
All right, describe. Wait. You walked into this like there's Rum Shack in Lake Worth.
Yeah.
You walk in. It's a shitty open mic, right?
Yeah.
Who's like? What's the demographic? Is it because Florida is one of those like weird states where it's like you go kind of similar to DC, you go 30 miles in any direction.
Yeah.
Shit changes dramatically. Like in one part it could be like super Latino, and then another part just like super like redneck type vibes. What was this?
It was like a lot of like this is a town. I think there was like a lot of rehab facilities in this town, so it was like a lot of people dealing with like and like opioids and stuff. So and then like just Florida attracts a lot of people who like they like couldn't make it anywhere else and they're just gonna go where it's warm. It's like those kind of people or people who want to like hide out for a while where it's warm.
Witness protection program.
Yeah, that kind of shit.
Florida.
That kind of stuff. People got drug problems and their family kicked them out of their house or stuff. So it's like a lot of like that was the vibe. Nice. I remember there was one comic. I'll never forget comedy. This. If you want it like if you want to know about the town, like this one comic, he was more established. And he was going up and he was doing jokes and there was like one table of real audience. Yeah. And they weren't really laughing. And he's like, he just starts talking to him. He's like just trying to do crowd work. He's like, "What drugs do you guys do? You guys smoke weed?" And they're like, "Eh." They're like, he's like, "You guys do coke?" And they're like, "Eh." And he's like, "You guys do like oxys?" And they're like, "Yeah. Woo, oxys." So he's like riffing on that. Jesus. And then he tries to go back into jokes and it's not working. And he just like a joke bombs and he turns to them and he just goes, "Oxys," and they're like, "Yeah." And I was like, where the fuck am I right now?
Christ, yeah.
That's where Benji started comedy.
That was my first open mic ever.
Damn. All right. So then you go up and then you go up. It goes okay. You do the department store.
Yeah.
Jewish
I
hell.
do like some poop jokes. It was, jokes that I never did again.
Did your friends come to support you?
No, I didn't even tell anyone.
Your West Indian friends?
No. I didn't tell anyone.
Did your manager come? Like, listen, man, do the joke about the Jewish people in the head. That's a good one from the office.
Fuck. No, he didn't. No, I didn't. Like, I was the kind of person. There's like two kinds of people who do comedy. There's the kind that like tell all their friends and they all come out and support. And there's the kind like me where I didn't tell anyone for like 6 months because I knew I was gonna suck and I didn't want people to see me. That was I was scared of people.
Yeah, and you don't want the people like you don't want to be judged that soon either. It's like because if I brought people, I did bring like a few of them out just because I wanted someone to like record the set. I just wanted to see how it went, but you don't want them telling you something and that pisses you off. You're like, I'm not doing this shit anymore. Like,
yeah.
Dude, that's
stick with it.
Yeah.
Some shit like that. Fuck you.
It'll get better.
Dog, I mean, that back then I would get so nervous on stage. I was very stiff. I'd always bring a jacket because I would like sweat through my shirt. It was like, it was rough. I didn't want anybody to see that.
Yeah, and then did you end up doing open mics in Miami?
Yeah, I did.
Because I would imagine Miami's totally...
At the time, it didn't have a ton, or at least I couldn't get a lot of stage time because I was so new. But I did like random shit for a few months, and then I got fired, and then I left Miami.
How'd you get fired?
Because I was really bad at my job.
I thought your manager liked you. He's like, you're not like the other ones. By the way,
no.
You're fired.
I mean, he was like, he liked me, but he was like, you're just not good at this. You're not providing any value to the company.
So you moved back because you got fired?
Yeah, because I was like, what am I gonna do? Am I gonna stay here with no job?
Yeah, doing open mics in Lake Worth.
Yeah, hell no.
Shit.
Yeah. Those Miami days are so crazy. Like, just
we haven't had any crazy Miami stories yet.
The animals that we used to, just like dudes, like just a lot of like people that I was with, just drunk driving and doing crazy drugs and like getting pulled over for doing 100 miles an hour at like 5 in the morning and that kind of stuff. Shit. I was always the voice of reason.
Yeah.
But just like my boy, his brother was like, he was such a character. Like he was all jacked up. He probably was like doing steroids.
What was his background?
They were Indian.
Indian, wow.
They were
like bros? Indian bros?
They were kind of bros. Yeah. But this dude,
because it can go either way with Indians.
He was like,
it could be broy or like hood,
super
like,
nerd,
or like or nerd, or like super like, am I watching Menace to Society? Like what's going on? Like, because there's like if you go to New York, you can see see that too.
That's true. No, but this dude, he was just like, he was jacked, and I think he was doing steroids because he was all aggressive all the time. And we'd be out and we'd just walking down the street in South Beach, and some girls would walk by, and he'd just be like,
Jesus Christ.
And we'd be like, Neil, what are you doing?
I didn't expect that at all. I didn't see the story going that way at all.
I'd be like, Neil, what the fuck are you doing? You just barking at
His name is Neil?
Yeah.
Neil.
Wow.
What are you doing? And he's like, yeah, man, most of them don't like it. But the ones that laugh, they're about it. And I was like, God damn. He'd always be just like fucking girls in like a parking garage somewhere. He was a real savage.
Oh, okay. So sometimes
that was just
sometimes it did work then.
Sometimes, yeah. That was just a normal Miami person. That guy.
It's like a character from that The Rock movie with Mark Wahlberg. Like they were like these, they're like how you call it, weightlifting heads.
Yeah, I guess he kind of was like that.
Yeah.
He had like this whole, he would sell refurbished Rolexes. It was very Miami.
Yeah.
Indian guy named Neil just barking at women.
Oh, man.
That's your sitcom right there. Get writing on it. Benjy, now. Listen. Your boss.
Is this the boss still?
Yeah.
He's telling me.
Yeah, you need to write a sitcom.
He reads it, he's like, you're in the wrong.
You ever think about writing something about Miami? Like your Miami days working in a warehouse, selling booze?
Yeah, maybe. I don't. I gotta think. I gotta go back and think about.
Because like
put together
the
all the
idea
stories.
of you just living in Miami, going to like clubs and like working in a warehouse.
I wasn't cool. That was the problem.
But that's the whole thing. You can't be cool.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Like everyone wants to be cool. We all can't be cool. We can't.
But I think Benji's cool.
Oh, thanks, Bo. I think you're cool.
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah. Well, I think
Martin's like, I don't.
You both are gay. Yeah, man. Well,
Martin's about to be canceled for that.
Yeah.
And
we're gonna edit that part out. That's from the Come Town Premium episode.
Martin said a slur. Martin said a slur.
But no, I mean that isn't that the sitcom that you? I mean the like they want to see that. I think that's like more unique and original because that was your life.
Yeah. I gotta put together all the
premise.
stories.
The premise is
the characters.
You go from like the Jewish high school to there. It's like you go from like being around all Jewish people to like being the only Jew.
Yeah.
And how do you stay true to your roots without, but still,
you don't.
but stay living your truth.
Okay. This sounds like a good pitch meeting. I would pick up that show, bro?
Because a lot of it for me was like, I remember a lot of my stand-up is based on, and I would get like in arguments with my friend, like comedy friends about like, not all comics talk about their lives, which I get that 100%, but my favorite comics always talked about their lives. And a lot of my like stand-up is based on like personal experiences, but exaggerated. So like all these like characters, like the Indian dude who's broed out that has like, maybe he was on steroids and he would bark at people, like that's a real person who at one point was his friend, like that was his crew. And it's just like sometimes
I saw that dude like every weekend.
And it was like but when you're younger, you don't really, you kind of like gravitate towards people, like it's just convenience factor. It's not necessarily like more than that. It's like, oh, you know, we're in the same office or job, or you know, and you end up just hanging out with them. Like that's what comedy's like in your first few years. You just kind of like, well, you know, we go to the same mics. You
know how I met those dudes? There was this girl I was trying to holler at, and she was like, "Hey, we're all playing like on a kickball team," and I was like, "All right, well, give me a lot of time to hang out with this girl."
Right.
And then
you met the broed out guys who barked at women.
Yeah. But so I was trying to holler at this girl, and she wasn't really interested in me, but I wasn't seeing it. And then I got to the kickball game, and her boyfriend was like ended up being like one of my best boys after that.
Wow.
So I gave up on her, but then I made some new friends.
You made a new
trying to holler.
You gained a boyfriend.
I don't think I ever told him that.
Hilarious. Oh, because he tried to like get at his girl.
Yeah. I didn't want to bring that up. But his brother was the barking guy.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Damn. Do you talk to them anymore?
Yeah, I still talk to them.
That's hilarious. You got a lot of Indian friends.
Yeah, I do. I think Indians and Jews get along for some reason. Yeah. We get along.
It's business. Good business.
A lot of business. Business minds.
Yeah. No, because I always
hardworking, conservative family structure. You know what I mean?
Lit weddings.
I've
seen a lot of Indian weddings.
Yeah. I was a best man in an Indian wedding.
Was there an elephant at
There was no elephant. There was a horse.
Budget cuts.
Yeah.
Because I feel like with the elephant, that's like, it's a pretty big budget.
It is.
Yeah,
Get a
I
horse.
don't know.
Someone messed up somewhere. They didn't live up to their
failure.
They're not a doctor or a lawyer. They can't get the elephant. Like, I only own a liquor store. This is all I can get. Get a horse.
Oh my God.
That's why you got kicked out of India.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Go play kickball.
No.
Wow.
The horse can kick the ball.
Holy shit.
Well,
yeah, I've been.
Yeah, no, that's what people want to hear about. They want to hear about the Indian weddings and all that stuff. It's like you in all these obscure situations.
Yeah, I've been like, that's the funny thing about my life is kind of by accident in a bunch of situations. I've ended up like the only white person in the room, like a lot of times. Like even when I went to college, like I dropped out and then I transferred to a new college, and then like no one, like it was hard to make friends. So I just ended up, for some reason, I was only friends with like this group of like black lesbians. That was like my crew.
Where? What school?
I went to the new school in New York. And
the new school?
Yeah, the new school.
What is that?
That's
the new, it sounds like a rap group. We the new school.
There's a
we
leaders
just
of the
all
new
lesbians.
School. No, that was Busta Rhymes' group, Leaders of the New School, before he broke out. Yeah, but for whatever reason, like I didn't get along with the other kids or whatever. It was just like hard to make friends after.
Let's backtrack to the new school. Where did you transfer from that you ended up at the new school?
Well, I started and then I dropped out, and then I transferred there.
Where was it? Where was the original school?
I went to GW.
Oh,
yeah,
that's a great school.
Yeah,
and then just what happened?
I was just a dumb kid, and I was like,
how'd you get into GW if you were a dumb kid? That's a hard school to get into.
No, I got good grades. I actually did. I wasn't dumb.
You just didn't
but I mean, I was like life dumb. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I never knew you went to GW.
Yeah, I went there.
Damn, your life was like headed on the right track.
Yeah. And I dropped out, and my parents were really mad. And
so you decidedly dropped out.
I
You're like,
dropped out.
Like, what was like you just didn't fit in with the kids? Because I can't see you hanging out with GW
I was just like,
kids.
this is not. Yeah. It wasn't. That wasn't my scene. But also just like, I was like, what am I doing here? Like, I don't know. I wasn't like getting good grades.
It seemed like that was like the path, like the from where you were in high school to GW was like it made sense.
Yeah, it was like everybody was going to college, so you should go to. And then I was like, I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm wasting my time, wasting money. It's like it's expensive.
Yeah.
And I dropped out, and I was living on my own. I was living with a bunch of people, and I was working at the juice bar in Whole Foods for a long time, and like.
Cracking jokes? Were you riffing?
Yeah, always. I was always joking. I was the best at the clock game.
What's the deal with this mango smoothie? Huh?
Yeah, basically. And my parents were like, "You got to go back to college." They were really mad. We we weren't talking for a while. I was living with all these random people, and then the people that got me to go back to college was all these like Ethiopian moms that worked at the juice bar at Whole Foods.
Whoa!
They were like, "Why don't you?" I can't do an Ethiopian accent, but they're like, "Why the fuck are you not going to college? You're white, dude. You had, like, we work here so much, so our kids can go." And I was like, "Yeah, you're right. I am wasting my fucking privilege on this bullshit. What am I doing?" So I spent some more time there, and then I transferred. Yeah.
So if it wasn't for those Ethiopian moms,
they smacked some sense, and I think that's why I always had like Indian friends and friends of different backgrounds, because I think like that was like their parents, you know?
Yeah.
That was exactly what their parents were like.
Yeah.
I think those Ethiopian moms, African moms,
Yep.
And they took a liking to you. They obviously
liked me.
They obviously liked you.
Yeah, because I think I'm just a friendly person, and I always made them laugh and stuff.
Yeah.
So
how'd you hit it off with the Lesbians? How'd that even come?
I don't remember.
Wait, where is the new school? We're in New York, but where in New York?
It's in Manhattan. It's near NYU.
Is it like a super liberal?
It's like really liberal.
Liberal arts?
Yeah,
type?
liberal arts kind of genre.
What was your major?
Urban planning.
Get
Jesus.
the fuck, bro.
Yeah, Benji has like a weird. You have a weird story, bro. I think
Is it weird?
Not even weird. I feel like the premise of you attending a school called the New School
so
after
unexpected.
it's like you're almost doing. It's like a bit. So I graduated from the.
And then I was friends with the black lesbians, pretty much only. Those were like my main friends.
How many students were enrolled at the New School?
Not a lot. It was a small school. And then after that, that was right when the financial crash happened, right when I graduated.
2009. Me too.
So I had a girlfriend at the time, and her cousin hooked it up. He sold roses at universities. Mm-hmm. So I went for like a year. I was like driving all around, and I was in Canada and like Michigan and Ohio, driving around like selling roses at like graduations and dance recitals. Like I would like hold bouquets and try to.
But why were you? Did you need money, or why were you doing it?
Yeah, I like needed a job.
So you were going to school,
but I couldn't. The problem was I had a liberal arts degree, and the financial crash happened, so I couldn't get a real job. I was trying to get like a 9-to-5 desk job, and no one was like, "Who the fuck are you?"
You didn't have any like Jewish hookups, like where
I tried using them.
Your family couldn't like Himmelfarb you into like a situation.
No,
where,
I mean like
take Benji.
No, when I guess we didn't have enough.
Where it's like where you like sold flowers after college.
Yeah, that was sort of a Jewish hookup because my girlfriend was Jewish at the time.
And then you ended up like traveling all over the country doing that?
Yeah, for a while.
Whoa.
And then I got this job in Miami, and then I moved down there, and I wasn't even expecting to stay, and I ended up staying for like 4 years.
Were your parents pissed off about that?
No, they were just like, at least he's not like dropping out, you know? They were just like, he's doing something.
Damn. So it all kind of went not necessarily downhill, but after GW,
I was lost.
That's when things like were like GW was like the path.
Yeah.
And then like once you like got out of GW, it was like, oh boy.
Yeah, I didn't know it. I was lost.
What was your major at GW?
I don't remember. I think it was like sociology. It's just like, we gonna major.
You're winging it, huh?
Yeah, I was just like
super winging it.
Yeah.
And then you were selling flowers.
And then I was selling flowers. Then
but you dated a girl that got you into that?
Into what?
Selling flowers.
Yeah.
Yeah, she like her cousin owned the company.
You're like Benjamin. What if? Hear me out.
She's Indian now. She's an Indian Jew. From Latin Jews to Indian Jews.
You're hanging out with black lesbians, Indians.
Bring me a bagel, curry bagel.
Lots of locks.
Yeah, so I got that. Yeah, it's been a while. Thinking back, you make it sound like crazier than it felt.
But it's definitely
really
crazy.
Is. I think for you it's probably like whatever, but saying it out loud, that's just kind of wild.
Yeah,
it's definitely
for a while.
You're with your grandma?
I was living with my grandma in New York for a while when I was in college.
Damn. So you're going to the new school, hanging out with the black lesbians, where you rap. The only thing that can make the story even better is like you're like, yeah, and I also dropped the mixtape.
I never dropped the mixtape. I used to make beats.
I made rap beats. We talked about this shit.
I made rap beats.
Holy shit!
What was your rap beats like?
Wow. What were they like?
Do you have any of them left?
I'll dig them up.
We'll open this episode
I made some
with
good
your
ones.
rap beats.
My favorite people were like early Kanye production and like all the people like heat makers for Diplomats. That was like my favorite.
Did you have a fantasy of being in a rap group?
You know, my fantasy was to like I would be a rap producer for like a living, like Scott Storch. You know?
Yeah, you could have easily been Scott Storch.
Dude, I have a picture in my room.
Yeah.
A picture of height of fame Scott Storch in his mansion in Miami, all white. Gucci
with Lil Kim in the background,
Louis Vuitton loafers, playing a piano with the Chronic 2001 like plaque behind him.
Oh my god,
that's in my room still.
Scott Storch was the man growing up.
Yeah,
he did the dun, dun, like the Dr. Dre, the Still Dre joint.
Yeah, and he did every beat from back then that had like a Middle Eastern sound.
Yeah,
he did that.
Hell yeah, dude. So you want to be like Scott Storch?
I wanted to be that.
Can we play your beat on this episode?
Yeah. I have to find. I don't know where they
It's
are.
crazy how like it took us like an hour and 10 minutes to unpack all of this.
Right.
You're hard to like talk like. I feel like
I'm hard to talk to.
You're hard to like. No, it's hard to get to like delve to like.
Is it
to like the story for it to come out?
Oh, the story.
Yeah, because the story doesn't like to come. Because you had it back in the day. You used to talk. Very rarely do you talk about like your like where you're from, like what your background is.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like. I don't know, surface stuff.
That's true. I don't know. I just don't feel like it's that funny. My background, it was like real. There's nothing funny about it.
But you don't enjoy sharing. It's like you also don't enjoy sharing it. Like I'm the I love sharing it because it's like I just feel like
your story. I mean, you're talking about my stories. You have a wild story.
Yeah, my story, but it's
unique one.
But it's like, but I also, at the same time, I like to share it because I think. I don't know, for comedy purposes or what, even if it's not funny, I'm like, I just like people knowing my story. If that makes any, I don't know if that's a weird thing.
No, not at all.
Why do you think that is?
I like the idea of people in LA knowing me. I like the idea of people in New York knowing me. I like the idea of people in here in DC knowing me. But it's for something that I'm passionate about, which is comedy. Okay. And then, this podcast gets people in wherever the fuck they listen to this shit. It's like, I like and whether it's, ideally you would like episodes to be funny.
Right.
Not every episode's funny. And it's like, I'm okay. And I'm comfortable with that. And I think like your story is fucking
gold.
Yeah. Not just gold, but it's like, bro, like that shit is
like hanging out with black lesbians at like already it's like a really it's a really liberal school, and we would go to like I would go with them to shit that they were doing, and there would be some like they would have like the black students group, and they would like invite me to film screenings. Yeah, and it would be like the whole black students group and like all these other people, and they would show some like radical film, and they'd be talking about it afterwards, and then they'd be talking for a while, and then everyone would turn and look at me all at once and be like, what do you think, Benj? And I'd have to come up with the most like on the fly answers that wouldn't piss off black lesbians.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Oh my god. But but like looking back, don't you think that had a pretty big impact on like who you are now? Like,
I think so.
Because that's exposure.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking with Brittany about this, and I was talking about how I dressed with her because she's like all in fashion and stuff, and I was like, do you think like minorities see me and they think like Trump supporter, or did they think I'm like a chill white person? And she's like, I think people see you and they could tell you've had like black and minority friends.
Yeah.
There's something about you and I think that's because I grew up like pretty much all white Jewish except for Sharon. What's up, Sharon? Holler at me.
Yeah.
And
hell yeah.
Llámame.
And,
but like I think I don't know. That's something about the worldview that I was just exposed to stuff. I don't know. It's not,
and that happened all like in your early adult life.
Mostly.
Which is wild.
I didn't even know.
It's backwards usually. I feel like, well, no, it's like usually you have like early experiences where you're like, you interact with people, and then usually like in your adulthood, you kind of like lean towards just being comfortable and convenience.
That's
right?
true.
Whereas you're the opposite. You like took more chances in your adulthood and like kind of just like ended up in these crazy ass situations.
I think, I don't know. I didn't even really know. I barely knew any not Jewish people till I was like 16. Like I had like some neighbors that weren't.
But I think isn't that prevalent? Like Mahdi Litwack kind of grew up in that same type of like if you're if you're
Yeah.
Jewish, like you.
Yeah,
The
they
family
really-
kind of puts you in these Jewish situations.
Yeah, I was in Jewish school. My parents took me to synagogue every weekend.
Yeah.
So I thought like everybody was Jewish. Like I knew they weren't, but I thought they were. Because Jewish people always like size up other Jews. They're like, look, we were the first person that did that, and look at that big guy, he did that, and this singer and that writer and that comedian, whatever. They're always like sizing up. I was like, oh, the whole world's Jewish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why doesn't everybody like us?
Right.
I don't get it.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I never thought about that. Like how much going to Jewish school, all your friends are Jewish.
Yeah.
And that's all you know.
So, you know, yeah.
Is that? Do you think that maybe that's what drove you to going to all these
Yeah,
extremes?
I think it was like pressure, and I needed to like escape and like come back.
But did you ever think about that, or do you just kind of
No,
did it?
I think
like,
in retrospect.
in
I,
retrospect, you're
needed
like,
to,
wow, yeah. You never really thought. You just like,
Yeah.
fuck it, I'm gonna go sell flowers in Canada.
Yeah.
Because that's such a wild left turn. Growing up in Potomac, Maryland, going to Jewish school. Now, next thing you're like, I'm gonna hang out with all black lesbians. Just take that, mom and dad. Fuck you. Keep paying my liberal arts degree
Yeah,
money.
they were just happy I was going to college.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine culturally, you know, if you didn't go to college, that'd be like a huge thing for the family too. Like, oh, he's not going to college.
Yeah, they'd be all worried about it and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's normal. Damn, all black lesbians, and then you went to, and then from there,
All black lesbians. That's gonna be the name of my first album, Bo.
that's
All
gonna be the
black
name.
lesbians?
Purchase
No,
it
that's gonna be
today.
the name of this episode. all black lesbians. Hell yeah! You gotta listen to know what the fuck we're talking about.
Yep.
Yeah. And now, like, things have gotten so much better. It's like you started the Time Machine Roast show. It's like one of the most popular shows in DC right now. I saw the first one I saw in its entirety was the Underground Comedy Fest. And it was so from top to bottom. It was so funny, man. If you haven't seen it,
I think a lot of people, we get a lot of skeptical people. They're like, that sounds like a good idea, but what is it? And then we win them over. Like it's crazy. I remember talking to Dylan about like, we'd be like, yeah, so our fans are gonna want it, and we're like, oh, did you hear? We have fans.
Yeah.
Like, it's like the first time we'd ever talked about because people come to every show because
it's
amazing.
it's different every time, and it's like it's a good product. It's wild, but it's like people are skeptical, and then we.
yeah.
win 'em
Explain what it is while I cue this up real quick.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so we get a bunch of comics and like comedy performers. They go into character as historical figures, just random historical figures, and then we do just a straight up comedy roast. We gotta we all just make fun of each other for bullshit things they fucked up. If they got divorced, if someone cut off their head, the king cut off their head, we make fun of them.
So we got a
If they
clip.
Fat,
this
whatever.
is Benjy as Babe Ruth.
You were known as the blowjob queen of Hollywood because of all the studio executives you sucked off in the 50s. Nancy, you've blown more Jews than the breeze in Tel Aviv. You've handled more Jewish meat than a kosher butcher. Okay. Ted Kennedy is here. What a pleasure to roast a man whose normal blood alcohol level is Bombay Sapphire. He was a great orator. Who can forget his iconic speeches like saying the alphabet backwards to a cop? And the famous, I'm not drunk, you're drunk.
That's one of Benji's characters on the show, and yeah, man, it's crazy to see like a show grow like over time because with our show it took a minute for people to catch on and people want to keep coming back and like pay money to see it,
Right.
but like the way your show started it's been pretty like fast. Tell us the story how it started.
But we were doing it in with Ahmed and like this little bar. You know, there'd be like barely anybody there, and then like Ahmed stopped doing it, and then me and Dylan took it to the Improv.
Yeah.
That's
And
a
we were
big
just
jump.
like, can we like do it here? It's a good show. Like, just put
Yeah.
us in the main room.
Wait. So you walked into the
Yeah,
Improv.
we like asked for a meeting with them,
Yeah.
and then we were just like, hey,
Have you ever worked with the Improv before?
I mean, we like knew them. We like
Yeah.
worked as stand-ups
Yeah.
before.
But,
And
like-
so yeah,
But you have this show at the Rendezvous Lounge for
Yeah.
like 10 people,
Yeah, that's a big jump.
and then you go to you're like, you know what?
Yeah, and they're like,
And it's like you and Dylan.
yeah, and we just, I don't know, we
You walked-
were just confident, and they were like, all right, we'll give you a chance in the lounge. the lounge holds 60 people. We'll give you a shot. We don't have anything on this like Wednesday
Yeah.
in a while. And then it sold out like 3 days in advance. And then the next show was at the DuPont Underground, and that sold like 200 tickets. And then from then on, it's been in the main room.
Which
And we
holds
sell
like
250, and we sell like 200 plus a show.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's incredible, man.
That's pretty great. Yeah.
It's wild, yeah. I think back on it, I'm like, that's crazy. Because we just knew that it was a good show, and we knew that we were funny, and we knew funny people.
Yeah. Now you it's to see a show go from like local to the DC Improv stage is crazy because that never happens. It's very rare that it happens, and I think that's like
it's good for like DC audiences. You know, there's a lot of people with like degrees and liberal arts degrees and master's degrees around here.
Yeah,
but you don't have to have that to enjoy the show.
So like so when you're working on a new show, it's always different characters.
Yeah, we always do different.
Have you ever repeated a character?
I don't think so. We still have. No, maybe we did for the first time, but it was a repeat of from like the Rendezvous days. So there was like nobody would have remembered.
Of course.
Yeah.
So then like every time you go into a new show, do you write jokes for anyone else, or do you just?
Dude, I don't write jokes for anyone else. I just write my own jokes, and every show. It's crazy. It's crazy as a writer to do it because I'm writing like 10 to 12 minutes of all new jokes that I never tested before, and I'm doing them one time ever. And I usually, I mean, like, I'm not like a big on this, but I usually kill. Like, I usually have a very strong set.
You should, you should.
I'm like, it's like.
Has there ever been a situation where it hasn't gone amazing or like not?
Well, there's been times where I feel like I had to close out real strong, and I'm glad. Like, I always go at the end because, you know, but I spend so much time on it, but it's like, it's crazy as a comedian to be like, I'm going to spend all this time on jokes and then never do them again. Some of them have led to like stand-up material.
Right.
Most of them are so specific. Like we had one joke on the last one where it's like it was like old Frank Sinatra, like Landon Letskis was playing him, and he was wearing a tuxedo, and I was like, man, you look like Chris Christie dressed up as James Bond for Halloween. And it's like, which is like, when else could I say that?
Yeah.
It was just funny, and you know, it's just like, but it's like, it's good. It's a good writing exercise, and I feel like I want it, dog. I want to be like, I want to write in comedy. I want to have like a writing job and stuff. I want to do stand up also.
It definitely
and
showcases.
Makes me better.
It definitely showcases your strength. And the last show you had was last week, right? At the DC Improv.
Yeah.
How was that one?
That was good, man. It was tough. It was tough because, you know, it was the first one since Dylan's been gone. And so it was like kind of emotional, you know, and it's like, it wasn't fair to anyone else because I'm like, man, if Dylan was here, he'd be so good. I'm like comparing everybody, you know, because the part of the fun of it was like me and him would try to make each other laugh, and like, you know, it's like you work together. You don't make a lot of friends in comedy, and you get to work with them on something that's really fun, and you respect their sense of humor, and
to go from like starting out in a small spot to like, for people to understand, like the DC Improv is like the crown. It's the biggest, like undebatable, the best show. I mean, the best room in DC, arguably in the country. People say top 5 like venues in the country, and so like, you know, Benjy and Dylan had this show. They take it to DC Improv, and it was so cool to see you guys have something to work on together. Yeah. And then you guys like, and then you like, the last show was, you know, I would imagine it was like emotional. Like everyone was talking how great it was though, and it was like it's fucking awesome that you get to keep it going and like, you know.
Yeah, it was tough, man. I was pretty fucked up about it for like the next day, really.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Yeah, I mean, but you were asked to. You know, you were asked to speak at his funeral.
Yeah,
that was like another moment.
That was another. It was like,
what were you think? What was your like?
I was like, you said something to me. You were like, man, you really got to bring it. You're gonna speak.
I said that.
Yeah. No pressure. Damn.
Jesus Christ.
I had that in the back of my mind, and then I talked to Andy Klein.
No, you know
and
what?
He had spoke at his brother's funeral. He's like, man, I wish there was like a late show so that I could like work on the jokes and punch them up.
Yeah. You know what it was is because we all got a text basically saying like it was me, Benjy. Me, Benjy were in the text with Sean about, you know, who's gonna speak like at the funeral, and you know, Benjy ended up being like the comic, and it was like it was. I remember thinking like, man, and then Milner ended up writing a letter, and you read the letter.
Yeah.
And I was like, I remember being at the funeral and watching Benjy go up, and like, I was like, yo, what's going to like, how is he going to approach this? Because like it's not like there's so many layers to it. It's
Oh,
our best. It's like one of our best friends. It's a comedian.
Yeah.
You know, and there's
The
like
entire DC comedy scene was there.
Dylan's entire family, his childhood friends, his coworkers who I've never even knew about. Like I didn't even realize, never thought about Dylan in an office setting environment. I only know comedy Dylan. I don't know office job Dylan. But all those people were there.
Yeah.
And the opening line of Dylan of Benji's set, or Benji's eulogy was I can't believe I got bumped at Dylan's funeral.
Yeah, because that wasn't.
And the place just erupts.
Nice.
That wasn't even written, dude. Because she was like, all right. The lady running it was like, all right, you're fifth. It was just like going up at Big Hunt or whatever.
Yeah,
She's like, you're fifth.
Yeah.
It's like, who's that? Who am I? Who's before me?
Yeah, exactly. Because like
But,
you're as far as we knew, you were the only comic going up.
And so they got through the fourth person, and then the lady gets up and she's like, all right, if anybody else wants to say something, and I was like, and like Rob Mayer came like rushing up.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, I guess I'm going after Rob. And she was like, wait. Wait, everybody, please. We still have one more. So that's why I said, I can't believe I got bumped. And then, yeah, that just came to me. That wasn't planned or anything. I wasn't expecting to get bumped.
Yeah, yeah, man. I mean, you did such a great job, like just on all fronts.
Because it had to be meaningful, but it also had to be funny. And I was just the whole time I would look up and I would picture Dylan in the back with a drink, just with that face, that smile he would get when you were bombing on stage.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't let him down, man.
Yeah, dude. Nah, definitely. Then on top of that, he like Chris Milner wrote like a 2-page, 3-page. What was it? 2 pages, 3 pages of like puns and I was like, no, it wasn't like, it was a dope ass. No, like Chris Milner, but Chris had to say his piece. So now like Benji's putting. To me, I'm watching like. I'm like, damn, I'm glad I don't have to, like, Benji, like, killed it.
Yeah.
And then Milner had, like, written something so meaningful. And then, but Benji had to, like, basically present this in front of everyone else. Yeah.
That's the crazy thing about comedy, man, and, like, making people laugh. Because there was stuff I said offhandedly that I was just, like, I wasn't even thinking about it. That people laughed at. I was like, yeah, this is, Chris Milner wrote this. He couldn't be here. Because he got deported.
Yeah, the place erupts. But Benji's like, yeah, it's true.
I was like, just thinking about 2 of my friends are gone this year. Like,
bro, that's exactly what's going on though.
Yeah,
it's been a crazy ass year, man.
Yeah, dog.
On your website, there's a sex playlist.
Yeah,
I wanted to talk to you about that.
Oh yeah,
Sierra. Did you have Majid Jordan? Is that on it?
Yeah, that's on there.
Jeez. Did we talk about Majid Jordan?
We've talked about it.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, I like having sex to this too.
Just a couple of guys talking about what they like to have sex to.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite bits that you had back the Spotify playlist. You don't do that anymore.
I don't do it too much.
That joint used to rock.
You legit have a sex playlist though.
Yeah, no, I have a lot of them, but one of them's on my website.
Do you have a sex playlist?
I have sex albums. I don't really have a playlist.
Mm.
Yeah,
like
I think a good solid sex playlist is key.
Yeah,
sets the mood.
Probably.
Was Aaliyah on it too?
I think Aaliyah's not on that one because Aaliyah's not on Spotify.
Really?
But on other ones.
Okay.
She's not on Spotify? I didn't know that.
I don't think so. I've looked.
So
maybe she is now.
How long are the playlists? Like, so usually you try to like go through
3 hours of fucking all night long. The Quiet Storm. No, it's long playlist, but it's not. You can finish one chorus, you're good. You know,
yeah,
you know how it is.
Yeah. Actually,
one verse, one chorus.
You make it to the chorus.
Done. Get out.
That's amazing.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like sexy music. I don't know. I have so many of these playlists. Like I probably listen to them without having sex.
Benji's a very sensual person.
Yeah, I'm very passionate
I'm R&B
man.
guy. Yeah, I'm with you. I think the older I get, I'm just appreciating R&B more.
Yeah, because I remember like I would just put on anything back in the day, but it's like my boy was like one time he's like, you listen to rap when you want to listen to like an angry man shouting when you're having sex? Like that's not
right.
That doesn't set
Damn,
the
it
mood.
sounds like your boy was like
OG gave you some game.
Some Latino OG. The same guy who fired you. Like, listen. You gotta listen.
Me
to
and my boss talked about a lot of stuff.
He's like, you should do comedy, and also you should have a sex
He would
playlist.
just pull out from under my bed while he's like, "Why you fuck to this, man?
It's no good humping.
You gotta fuck to bachata."
It's no smooth. Use your lips more. Like what? Use your tongue.
Ay, Dios mío.
Guillermo, this is not appropriate.
Yeah, I was fired 2 years ago. Why are you still talking to me?
We're in Maryland.
Yeah. I think that's a good way to end our episodes.
Jesus Christ, man.
Appreciate you doing this one.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I hope there's something entertaining in here.
No, the whole story was fucking was fire, bro.
Let's go, bro.
Yeah.
But can I plug in the show?
Plug your show, dog.
Yeah, so everyone listening, I'm doing my first headline at U-Haul this Friday, June 29th. So get your tickets if you like reggae music, Afro beats. Yeah, come check it out.
U-Haul, that's a big deal, man.
Congrats, bro.
Congratulations on that, bro.
That's a big deal.
That's what I want to let people know. It'll be me, Spinrillo, Giovanni, shouts out to Nandi that put the whole thing together. But yeah, U-Haul, June 29th. Get your tickets.
That's what's up, man. Congrats.
Yeah. Oh, thanks,
And
man.
this Thursday, Benji and I were both at the DC Improv. We are doing the Dylan Meyer Showcase, raising money for his charity. Tickets are on the DC Improv website for that. Anything else, Benji?
Time Machine Roast. Look that up. Look up
Tickets
at Benjy Himmel, BENJY.
Hell yeah.
Himmel. Twitter's popping, sort of, and Instagram and all that shit.
Awesome, man. If you rock with the podcast, let your friends know. If you don't rock with us, let the streets know. Thank you, guys. See you on the next episode. Peace.
DJ Bo, the gayest DJ in town. Martin Amini, the best hair in the biz, and he's not gay. DJ Bo is though.